Here we go. Microphone is on. Hello, welcome back to the stream. Today is Saturday, January 18th. My name is Angela, and I'm a software engineer and front-end developer in St. Paul, Minnesota. And on this channel, we practice front-end development. Yeah, last weekend we started building this mock-up called the Ocean, which I've had for a long time. I have a collection of mock-ups left over from my freelancing days. This is from 2016. So we started building this last weekend. I think on Saturday last weekend we did all of the HTML, and then on Sunday we started the CSS. And where's my mouse? This is how far we got. So our header, is getting there. I don't have the drawer for search or mobile yet, and we can take a look at what that looks like. So here's the mock-up we're going off of. We're going to build this layout today. I would like to get to the search drawer. Here's what the off-canvas navigation looks like. And here's what the search drawer looks like. So I'd like to get to these tomorrow. And my goal for today is to just kind of blast through the rest of this layout. So we're going to start with the hero. This is not a slider. There's nothing to indicate this is a slider. So we have a full width section with 3 images. Calling this an overlay, and I'm going to treat these as titles because this is really a blog focused layout. So these would be titles that would be linked presumably to an inner page. And then we have a really traditional blog layout with the content on the left, a sidebar on the right. Yeah, so let's see. I have a tendency to underestimate the amount of time that it takes me to get something done. Sometimes I get things done shockingly fast, and sometimes it takes me a long time, a lot longer than I think it's going to. So let's get started with this hero. Where are we here? And yeah, the plan is to just continue working on this. I want to build this entire thing out, all of the pages as part of this design, get the entire thing built out. And it takes as long as it takes. The whole point of live streaming is to show new developers, maybe you're new to front end, that we all need to practice. We all need to set aside time to practice and in order to get good at this. Where are we here? Okay, there's our main wrap. These are the hero items right here. Let me make this a little bigger. There we go. So here is our section hero. And then let's go ahead and, this is inside main, so I'll go ahead and just use the main. Sure we have our Sasquatch on. We don't need a wrapper because we don't need to pull this content in. It goes all the way to the edge. So we really just need to put these into thirds. And we have everything here. Hero item is our container. We have a figure with an image. And then we have a div with an H2. And then this should be linkable. So we'll add some links here when we get to that. So we'll start with a class of hero, and I am using Sass to style. I think you could easily use vanilla CSS. I prefer to use Sass. So we've got image, which is the figure, and by default, figures, the browser gives figures a lot of margin, so we'll take that off. But I do also want to make this position relative. And then our image is here. Let's also do, and we have styles specific. Let's go to our toolkit. We have styles specific to the images, which is that they are all display block, max width 100%, height auto, and that makes them responsive. So let's make sure that our figures are position relative. We'll say they're going to be width 100%, height. I'm going to say height auto, and I think we'll use aspect ratio. I think for aspect ratio, I'm going to use I'm going to think about that for a second. I should probably back up and get Flexbox going on these first. So we'll start with that. So let's do hero item. And then also hero is, oh, and we also have in our toolkit, let's see. I haven't worked on this since last weekend, so it's like I'm relearning my structure all over again. Here we go. So we have our flex container, which goes on the parent. And then we have our flex item, which is a width percentage. Let's put this over here. So we'll do at include flex container. And then for our item, we'll say at include flex item. And we'll just go with 33%. There we go. And then I think it makes sense then for the aspect ratio to be 1:1, which would basically be a square. And then we can do our image would be position absolute. We'll say top 0, left 0, width 100%, height 100%, and then we'll say position cover and object fit. I usually say center. So let's see. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, that's the JS. Okay. Display flex. Oh, I think we want to did I put this on? I did not spell relative correctly. There we go. But we have a little issue with our, oh, this has margin. Oh. Let's see here. So we should really say for this margin 0. There we go. So that's nice, and we still have a little gap here. But that's nice and responsive now. I think that gap is because oh, it's because should be 33.333. That should close up our, there we go. Now we closed up our gap. Although there is a tiny little gap there, isn't there? Yeah, there. That gives us that tiny little gap, doesn't it? I like it. Now we can also adjust the aspect ratio, although no, I think that looks okay. That looks good. So let's get our titles and our overlays. So the hero item should also be position relative. And then we want the item title. This would be position absolute. I'm going to say bottom 0, left 0, width 100%. I'm going to say the background color should be RGBA, color 0, alpha. The alpha channel can be 0. We'll say 0.5. And this should just be black. And then the color for the text can be white. And then we probably want to say, we'll say a height of 100 pixels, and we'll see if that's enough or if we need to adjust that. Okay, what's happening? Item title, hero item. Oh, that's the wrong class. Need an underscore. There we go. So I think we need a lot more opacity. What does the mock-up look like? And the text is centered. Well, that helps. We need more opacity. So let's make this 0.85. Let's add, I can add some padding on the, well, we can add just like a rem of padding all the way around, and then we'll text align center. There we go. And I think also this is the serif font, so we'll get that in there as well. So that is Gelasio. There we go. And let's make that, I think right now it's an H2. So we'll say font size 1.25 rems, font weight, 400, oh, is it? I guess it's a little bit bold. What are my options for font weight? So my options are 400 to 700. Does 600 work? That's way too big. That's huge. That's really big. And that container is not growing. That is kind of one of the downsides of it's one of the downsides of absolute positioning. But I think we can make it a little bigger here. Make it 150 pixels. I mean, that holds up pretty well. And we can position this a little better too, to make sure it's always aligned in the center. So that holds up pretty well to about so what's that, about iPad? We should use that clamp. MDN CSS clamp. So font size clamp, where you have a minimum, a variable, and a maximum. Yeah, we should do that. That font size is, I think that font size is huge. Although, is my screen? It's not. I'm not zoomed in. I can zoom that in a little bit. The rest is not zoomed in. And it's still, for being 1 rem, that's really big. So let's do clamp. Well, it should still be a minimum of 1 rem. And then I guess we could do 1.5 VW. I don't want it to be bigger than 1 rem. Sort of pointless though, isn't it, to do it like that? Yeah, I'm not going to do clamp because I don't like it bigger than 1 rem. But I will add padding to the sides to push it in a little bit more. And then let's position this H2 in the middle. And let's see here. No apology necessary. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm struggling in responsive CSS. I'm pretty good with HTML, CSS, JS for desktop versions, but when it comes to responsive, I just don't understand how to get the right approach. Okay, that's totally fair. So that is something that I'm gonna do with this design. So if you want to keep watching, I can show you how I approach that. My approach is that I guess I'm always sort of thinking about keeping it as flexible as possible. So let's do this. So part of being responsive is not just so that it goes from desktop to mobile, but that it supports everything in between. So if you see here how I'm on a 27-inch monitor. So if you see here This is responsive because the design is responding to the size of the window or of the browser window, right? So when I'm doing this, I'm kind of going back and forth. I'm getting to about this point right here, and the text is wrapping to the third line, and I'm like, okay, this is where I have to do something now to this design because this is not the look that I want, right? So this is about where the text looks good. And what's that? It's about 1250. So here's what I'm going to do. My font size is 1 rem. Now I'm going to come down here, I'm going to write a media query, and I'm going to say max width, 1250 pixels. So once it hits 1250, I'm going to change the font size. We're going to change the font size to 0.85. I want to make the font size smaller, so once we hit 1250, it changes. So here we are, 1643. You can see here the font size. Oh, and actually, you can see here the font size is 1 rem. Oh, you know what though? Am I doing this wrong? Font size 1.5. That's why it's so big. Sorry about that. Item title. You know, we need to change this to. There we go. Okay, but the same principle applies here. So you can see that the font size is 1.5 rems. And then once the browser window gets below 1250, do you see the font size changing? That's responsive design. That's not the right size. We're going to change it, but that's what that means. So responsive is literally checking to see how well does the design respond in the browser. That's literally what it means. So the way that I do it is to just move my browser back and forth and see how it looks and make the adjustment based on how things are actually playing out. I don't use a lot of media queries. I don't use a lot of breakpoints. I tend to use the breakpoint 960 pixels. But in this case, 1250 is appropriate because of this font size, but we actually need to adjust this a little bit. It's something that you just need to get a feel for. Let's see. I made a mistake here with my item title. I wasn't styling the H2. So give me a minute here to adjust this a little bit. So I'm going to take these. I'm going to take this. And I want to remove the margin from this. I'm going to remove the margin from this, because in this case, I don't like it. And I have to take this out. There we go. So let's see how that works now. So 1320, going down, down, down. Do you see there where at 1250 it changes? Now, right around 960, you see right there at 960, we're going to change it again, and we're going to make them all stack up. Oh, yeah, let's do 960. I think that's a good place to do it. Okay, so right here, the hero item. Right now, those are aligned horizontally. They're a third, 33.3. So now we're going to change this at a breakpoint of 960 pixels. So we're going to say at media, max width, 960 pixels. Whoops. So at 960 pixels, I want to change this right here. I'm going to change this to 100%. So it takes up the full width. So now let's see. There we go. So now it changed to be stacked on each other. So that's responsive design. And I tend to think of mobile devices and iPads. So I think desktop, iPad, mobile device. I think it's a mistake to go from a desktop to like an iPhone or an Android or a mobile device. I think if you can get into the habit of making sure that everything kind of works in between, it's a better approach. In my opinion, that's a better approach. And I have some other alignment issues here. There we go. Yeah, my overflow is a little crazy here. I'm assuming it's because I have something else out of alignment. So once we get the rest of this styled, this will be okay. But this looks how I want it to look now for the most part. Does that help answer the question? Honestly, it just requires a ton of practice. Good. It just requires a ton of practice. You're just going to have to get into it and get knuckles deep in some code to figure out what works. But the sooner you can get in and just play with layouts, change things, decide what your breakpoint is, and make those changes, the better off you're going to be. We have a lot of space here on the left and right. What's happening? Oh, because this has margin. That's why. So we have to change that margin again. There we go. I mean, this probably... it's fine for now. We'll make some more adjustments. So the next thing I want to do is, do you see how this H2 is all the way at the top? There's a lot of space there. So let's make sure that this H2 is always aligned on the y-axis. And the way we do that is... you're welcome. It is not from Front End Mentor. This is just a Photoshop mockup that I have from when I used to be a freelancer. So many years ago, I was a front-end developer freelancer, and I'm not really a designer, so I wasn't good at building my own layouts or doing the designs myself. So I would just go to, let me see here, I can show you where I used to buy these. I think it's Theme Forest. I would just go to Theme Forest and buy, let me see here, WordPress, hosting, HTML, UI templates, Photoshop UI templates. I would just buy Photoshop mockups, and then that's what I used to come up with ideas for designs. So Junior Garcia is saying, when's the next code review? Throw my name in the hat. Absolutely. Junior Garcia, happy to help with the code review. So I have 2 code reviews that I have promised to people, and I have just not have gotten to them yet. I prefer a link to a GitHub repository or a GitHub page or Heroku link or something like that. We do have a Discord server. I think there's a link in the description. If you go to the main page of I think it's here, we have a link to the Discord server. There's a section on Discord where you can put the link to the code review. I'd be happy to take a look at it. I'm a little bit behind right now. So give me, it might be a week or 2 before I get to it, but I'm absolutely happy to do that for you. And yeah, I love doing those. They're really, really fun. So thank you for asking. And so I think the best way to practice building user interfaces, and I think you can even Google free website mockups. You could also I tell people to do this all the time. Go to Pinterest. If you don't have a Pinterest, sign up for Pinterest web design inspiration or web design mockups, and just pick a mockup like this and build it. This is the easiest way to practice your front end skills. I think Front End Mentor is awesome. I've done one Front End Mentor project. I really enjoyed doing it. But if you really want to practice your layout skills and your front end HTML, CSS, just go find a layout, a mock-up of some type, and practice building layouts just like this. So I think it's the best way to do it. So just, this is my approach. That's my approach, at least. So, and I have a ton of these mock-ups from when I used to freelance that some I've never built, never used. So that's why I decided to start streaming, just to practice, because I've been doing this a long time, but I still need to practice. So oh, Junior Garcia, if you're comfortable joining the Discord server, feel free to pop a link in there, and I'm happy to take a look for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and do we will also make this position relative. And we're going to say top 50%. And then we're going to say transform, translate y for the y-axis, negative 50%. And that should make sure that it's always in the middle. 1 second. So you can see here that this is always in the middle now on that y-axis. So even at the bigger size, we're in the middle. If we're 1 line, we're in the middle. If we wrap to 2 lines, if we wrap to 3 lines, we're always in the middle. And the height of this is 150 pixels, which I think is a pretty good height for the text. And I'm happy with the size of the text too. So on desktop, we have this kind of browser default of 1.25. We could also change the width of this just based on, I think we could just do like width 40 characters. That could help bring it in too. So we could say width 40, can you just do 40 ch? I think so. Oh, that's a little too wide. So let's do something like width maybe 15. Oh, that's a little too narrow. Okay. There we go. technically we are changing. We're not wrapping anymore. If we do that, we just need to align that. And I think we can just do margin 0, auto. There we go. So now that those don't wrap, but that still holds up pretty well. Oh, not that well. 295. Yeah, so we'll want to adjust that. We'll want to adjust that when we get to it. For now, this is fine. I think for now this is fine. So let's keep rolling with the rest of the layout. So now we need to get our main content area on the left and our left sidebar, our sidebar on the right. So this is kind of a 12 column layout. So we have about 350 to 1200. So to me, this is about 2/3 and this is a third. Depending on where you work or what the requirements are, you may have a creative director or a lead developer who says it should be pixel perfect. I mean, I have a problem with that kind of verbiage, but make sure that you're following this pretty closely. I have a little looser approach to things because I am always thinking responsively. So we're going to do 2/3 and 1/3. And then we have a pretty fair gap here in the middle. So let's maybe we could do this as 60%. We could do this as 35%. And then this could be like a 5% gap. So let's just see how things play out here. So now we're inside, here, where are we? Okay, so here's the main wrap. Let's make sure we have that main wrap styled. I'll go ahead and put this right here. Main wrap. It's 1200 pixels, so I'm going to use a max width of 75 rems, which is when the rems are set to the browser default of 100%, that's 16 pixels. So 75 rems is 1200 pixels. And then we'll say margin 0 auto to center it. So we should see that. Where are we here? You can already see that this is centered now into a container. And then let's just remove the margin from all of the figures because that's driving me crazy. Let's just go here, say figure 0, margin 0. If we need margin, we can add it. There, look at that, already looking better. And then let's go back here. So this is the hero container, so we'll come down here after hero and we'll do blog layout. Blog layout, and then we have sidebar layout. So the blog layout, well, we need our wrap to be flex container because the parent needs to be flex container. So we'll do at include flex container. So that sets up display flex, justify content, align items, flex flow, margin left, margin right. And then the blog layout is going to be a flex item. So that's include flex item, and I'm going to say 60%. And then we're going to do the sidebar layout. Add include flex item. 35%, and then that will leave a gap of 5%. Let's see here. In our sidebar, let's see. Why aren't you lining up? Here's our main rep. Did I do the math right? 60%, 35. 60 plus 35 is 95. Oh, probably because of the margin. Yeah, didn't like that margin. Well, we can just make it smaller. There might be a flaw. I asked last week ChatGPT to help me make my own little flex set of includes for SAS. So there might be a flaw. There might be a flaw there. So here's 30%, and this gives us the gap that we want. So I'm good with this. So beautiful. So now let's work on this. So here's our title, which has the serif font. This is the category, which is a sans serif font, and the date. And then everything is centered, and we have this lower, this kind of border. So inside of our blog layout, we have articles, which are a blog item. We also have full width. We'll do the blog item styling first, and then we've got full width, half width, things like that to adjust the layout. So let's start with the overall styling first, which is the blog item. And I'm going to put this on its own line. And then within the blog item, we have blog category, secondary heading, and blog date. So we'll start with blog category. And this is font family. We are using Cabin. Wait a second. Serif or sans serif? I thought Cabin was a sans serif. Google Fonts. Yeah, it is a sans serif. Why did it come up as serif? Yeah, that's interesting. This comes up as a serif. It's a sans serif though, so font family. I'm just gonna put in sans serif. And the color is, well, technically it's a link because it would be a category. It's not really a link, but I guess I could give it that color. So we'll say font size, 1 rem to start. It'll probably need to be smaller. Text transform uppercase, and then color links, and then we'll do a text align center. There we go. And we obviously need to do a lot of spacing and alignment, and I'm going to do also Letter spacing, 1 pixel. There we go. And then the next thing we have here is our title, secondary heading. And this is font family Gelasio. Font size, I think the default is 1.25. Text align, center. Let's see how that looks. Okay, it needs to be a little bit bigger. We'll make this 2 rems. There we go. And then our date, which is a lighter gray color, plus we need to put in this border. Blog date. This is, I think everything is cabin though, so we don't really need this, do we? Everything is the sans serif. Yep, everything is cabin. So we don't need to do this. So the blog date is also text align. I guess everything could just be, I don't want to make everything centered. And the color is probably something like DDD. I don't know, that might be a little, yeah, it's a little light. And I think this should also be text transform uppercase. And we'll also give this some letter spacing. Yeah, that looks good. And then let's make sure this is accessible. And this meets the AA standard. So let's see if we can, yeah, we'll go with 555, meets the AAA contrast ratio. And we'll make that a variable too. We'll have to do some refactoring and cleanup towards the end. Okay, and then let's get our border in here. So we've got this border that comes after this H2. So we'll go ahead and do an after pseudo class. And we always have to put in content, even though you have to put in the attribute content, even though you're not actually adding content, or before and after don't work. And then we'll say display block, height 0, border bottom 2 pixels. Well, probably want to do 2 pixels, solid, and we'll do the same color, 555. And we probably want to do a width of, I don't know, 50 pixels. Yep, and then we'll say margin 0, auto, and center it. And maybe we'll give it some margin here. 2 rems on the top and bottom. Space it out a little. Ooh, that's pretty dark. Technically, that line is darker than that. I'm actually going to make it a little bit lighter. It's not a user interface element, so it doesn't need to be, it doesn't need to meet a contrast. Yeah, I like that. And then let's make sure that our images are always responsive inside their containers, regardless of what size they are, regardless of what aspect ratio they are. So here's our figure. So after the blog date, we have our image. And we're going to say position, relative, and we'll say width, 100%, height, auto. Again, the aspect ratio, how does our design look? So when it's doubled, the aspect ratio looks, I mean, maybe we should just check this part of the Photoshop. Let's see here. Does it say? Okay, so 850 by 567 is my calculator. So it's like 1.5 to 1. So we'll do an aspect ratio of 1.5 to 1. I think that'll work. And then our image is going to be position, absolute, whoop, top 0. Why isn't VS Code is not auto-completing? So we want width 100%, height 100%, object fit is cover, object position is center. There we go. So now those images are nice and responsive. Oh, our aspect ratio didn't work. How come? Oh, a typo. There we go. Gosh dang it, why isn't VS Code adding my semicolons? There we go. So now we have our aspect ratio of 1.5 to 1. Then we have a description that, I don't know, it seems a little wide to me. Mahin says it's midnight here, going to sleep. Great content, by the way. Still waiting for your specific videos to roll out. Have a great day. I will follow this project from part 1. Thank you. Yeah, you know, it's a challenge to have a full-time job and do the YouTube channel. But I have a plan. So it's going to be a couple of weeks, but I will be a full-time content creator starting in March. So if you can be patient, there's lots coming for 2025. There's lots coming. So, and Junior's saying you can use inset 0 instead of writing top, left, etc. Oh, interesting. Okay, hang on. Inset 0. I did not know that. Let's see here. MDN, CSS, inset. The inset CSS property is a shorthand that corresponds to the top, right, bottom, and or left properties. It has the same multi-value syntax of the margin shorthand. I've never even heard of inset. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for telling me about that, Junior. I will start to use that because I'm all about the I am all about attempting to be efficient. Let's see here. Yeah, I just recently learned about aspect ratio. I mean, you know, here's the thing. If you aren't out talking to people, sharing ideas, working with other people, it's like, how do you know about these things, right? So thank you. I appreciate that. All right, let's get the bottom of this styled. So yeah, our description, I think this is an awfully wide description. Oh, but I think it also looks okay here. Yeah, I'm not going to do anything to that description. So let's add, we definitely need some padding around our main container. So let's add a little padding here. I'm going to add 4 rems, which a rem is 16 pixels, so 4 times 16, 64, maybe 3 times 16, 48. Yeah. Do 3 rems on the top, 0 on the left and right. Push that down. Perfect. And then let's add a little padding underneath the blog date, I guess. I'd rather put it on top of the image though. So let's just add some margin, top, 2 rems. Perfect. Yeah, that looks good. Oh, and I guess our dates are supposed to have a day of the week also. There we go. Here's our blog description. Our paragraphs already have margin by default. Excellent. This has margin by default. I think this continue reading needs to be centered, and it needs to be a serif font, and it's also a link. So let's get the link in there. There we go. blog description. Blog description after the image. I think we can just do text align center. Boy, I don't know why VS Code isn't auto-completing my semicolons. It's very annoying. And then I think let's go ahead and grab this. And we're going to say text decoration, none. We don't need that underline there. There we go. And then we should probably add that an SVG, our arrow. Do we have an arrow? Let's go grab one. Yeah, we can do this one. It's not exactly the same style, but that is okay. Let's make this aria hidden true so it doesn't get read out loud to a screen reader. The stroke is current color, so I'm going to take that out because I want to style the stroke myself. It's going to be big. Oh, you're not even showing up. Ah, there, that's why. It's right there. All right. So we'll make this SVG display block. Actually, display inline block. So it lines up. We'll give it a stroke of links so it matches the text. And we'll say width. I'm just guessing 25 pixels, height 25 pixels. We can adjust that if we need to. There we go. And then let's make this vertical align. Usually middle is fine. Oh, beautiful. Let's make it a little smaller, like maybe 20 pixels. Oof, I love it. All right, and let's look at the rest. Oh, and it's supposed to be italic. I think it's italicized. Font style. Is that what it is? Italic? Yes. There we go. All right. Now we have the comments, tagged, and social media icons. So here's the comment count. Here's tagged. And then here's the social icons. The social icons are already styled. They just need to be adjusted for the layout. So blog links. We'll give this the flex container. Include flex container. And then let's see how it looks. Pretty good. So we will want to give each of these their own width. So maybe, I guess this is, I'm forced now to look at the document. Let's zoom in a little here. Okay, so let's say that this is 350 to 1200. Let's see here. So 1200 minus 350 makes this whole container 850. And if we do this to this, what is that? 860. We'll call it 860. Wait a second. Stop. Can't see anything. There we go. 460. Okay, 460 minus 350, so that's 90 pixels. So if it's a 12 column layout, 90 pixels is like a column with 10 pixels for margin or padding. So let's just call it 100 pixels. And then this would be 200 pixels, 150 pixels. So if we're saying 1200 minus 350 minus 100 minus 150, 600. So we'll do 100 pixels, 600 pixels, 150 pixels. So we'll do blog comment. At include flex item. Oh, do I have to use a percentage? No, I don't think so. Flex item. No, it can be anything. Flex item. And I'm going to just take out that. Should I just convert it to a percentage? I don't want to. Blog tagged item. Social nav. Oh, actually, blog write. Where are you? Yeah, they're all still lined up. There we go. Perfect. Maybe. Blog tagged item. I don't think I have this right. Blog tagged items. There we go. Okay. And we have to remove the margin. Block links. Yeah, I do need to convert this to percentages. Yes. Okay, 752. 92. Okay, 12%. I'm gonna do 12%. And here I'm gonna do 20%. And then the rest is 68%. Oh, I think I have this wrong still. Blog comment count. There we go. Okay, so here's our links. Here's the comment count. Here's the tagged items. Here's the nav. Yeah, we're definitely wrapping to another line. So I think this needs to be way less. Tagged items, tagged nav tags. That's not the right one. No, actually we can put that there. And then the style type, none. And I'm just going to display inline block. That probably needs to be on the LI. There we go. And then let's do this. Let's make this 25%. Let's make this 25%. And let's make this 50%. There, that's better. And then let's make this also display inline block, just to get it lined up with that word. Come on. Do this. There we go. And let's get the border off of that anchor. Text decoration, none. Finally, we're getting there. Okay. And this, what's happening here? Oh, this is row wrap. So let's make that no wrap. We'll just change the flex flow to row no wrap. That's on the UL. Takes UL. Oh, that's in the wrong place. So we actually want that to be, we could do blog write UL. There we go. And this is way busting out of its container, probably because it has a lot of padding on it. Yeah. So let's, we just have to pull all this in a little bit. Let's see where we're at. Yeah. So I don't think tag needs to be that big. So let's, so if I think the comment count could actually be smaller. So maybe we'll make this 20%. Actually, I don't even think it needs to be that big. Yep, 15 is okay. And then we'll give this an extra, no, that's not what I wanted. Oh, 40, and we'll give this an extra. Okay, so we have to cut down on some of this. It's way too wide. All right, let's cut that down to 35%. That looks pretty good. And let's give this, so we've got 15. Oh, math. 15 plus 35. 50. Perfect. And then this can go back to 50. Beautiful. Actually, could still make this a little smaller, and then we have to put those borders in. Okay, so we know that the social icons should be 35%. Let's make this 20%. Well, maybe we should go back to 25. 25, 35. And then this is 40, and then that gives me room to put in that border. Perfect. Perfect. And then we need to get this aligned. Align items, we're going to change align items to center. So the blog links justify align items. There we go. Look at that. And then let's get a border on the top and bottom. 1 pixel, solid gray. Pixel, solid gray. And then we're going to need some padding. We'll just do one rem on the top and bottom, none on the left and right. Love it. And then I know we need a border over here on the side. We're going to come back and work on that because I'm already getting sick of styling this. I want to move on to the rest of the layout. And then let's make sure that we have space here in between after each article. Oh, we're kind of busting out of our... Oh, it's because of that margin. Yeah, I really don't like that margin. I'm going to change that. So Flexbox ChatGPT lent me a hand with this margin, and I don't like it. So I'm going to take these out, and I'm going to take this out, and if I want margin, I'll add it myself, and I'll see if this screws up my layout. Nope. Layout is fine. All right. I'm going to make that a little bigger. Perfect. I love it. Okay, now our blog items. We just need to put some space after. How much space do we have here? I mean, a couple of rems, right? Like maybe 3? So here's the blog item. So let's do margin bottom. I'm going to do 3 rems, which is like 48 pixels. Ooh, I think it could be more. But this is also a different layout. It doesn't have anything on top of it, so we should get that layout working maybe first. This is, yeah, the first one is the only one that has really anything on top. Everything else has the category, the title, the date beneath the image. So let's work on this layout. Okay. So we have our basic styles down for each article. Here's the full width article with all of these things on top. And then here are the half width, and I can see that I put all of these things on the top when I should have put them after. That's fine. Yep, that looks okay. That's full width image only. Here's half again. Oops. I'm just going to take these out for now. There we go. So here's our first one. let's add a little space above this. I'll add some margin on the top. Maybe 2 rems. There we go. A little more space there. Okay. So this is nearly styled. This is very nearly styled. So here we have, I put in classes just for this layout. And I was unsure if I needed to put these things in their own container in order to do this styling. So we may have to do that, but let's just add full width and half width and see how. I wonder if we could just do this right here in our variables. Oh, they're not really registering though, are they? Full width, half width. Oh, container. So if we had container as a class, look at that. Pretty okay, we're getting there. So why do we have a lot of I bet this is because align items is stretch. Isn't that the default value though? Stretch. So align items, flex start. Why is there so much space there? Yeah, row wrap, flex start, space between. Well, let's just keep plowing ahead. I'm sure it'll come to us. Okay, so we just need a little space here. So let's adjust this to be, instead of 50%, let's say, if we say 49%, that gives us 2% on the inside. I think it's a little more room though. And then let's bring down this text size a little bit. So maybe in the, well, how does it look in the mockup? I mean, I guess it looks about the same. Let's give it a little more room after the figure. Blog item image. So maybe we could just do margin 1 rem on the top and bottom, nothing on the left and right. Yeah, that looks nice. 1 on the bottom, 2 on the top. Trying to figure out why it's stretching so much. Add include flex container. There's our flex container. Blog layout. I think originally, no, we still want this to be on the wrap. I feel like flex start should fix that. Oh, it's stretching it to match the sidebar. I think that's what it's doing. Align items, flex start. There we go. Okay. See, you just gotta suffer through it, right? So, if you knew the answer and were waiting for me to figure it out, thank you for your patience. If you're not sure what I just did, let me tell you. Stretch, I had the align items property for Flexbox on the parent container to be stretch, meaning that I wanted both flex items to be equal height. And since the sidebar was longer, the main section blog layout was being stretched to match it, and it was adding all of that space in between the items. So I'm pretty sure that align items stretch is the default value. I could be wrong. I changed it to flex start, and these don't match anymore. So you can see here that this is shorter than this. So they're not being stretched to be the same width, or the same height rather. So this is perfect though. We don't need to put these articles into their own container. So this is great. We have a really nice flexible layout now. Yeah, and if you were building this in a CMS, or you were using a JavaScript library like React or I use Vue, so that's what I would be building it in, or a content, some sort of content management, WordPress or whatever. My recommendation would be that you just count your loops. So if you're looping through data to output like posts or a layout, you would just assign, so you would assign the first loop item to have a class of full width. You would assign the second or third loop item to be a class of half width. Or you could divide it up even, odd, or just count the loops. But you would basically just assign classes for your layouts based on the number of items that you're looping through and which index value you want to be that layout. So that is what I would recommend doing. So this is looking pretty good. I mean, these styles hold up. These styles definitely hold up. So let's keep going here. This is looking a little off. And this has, so this doesn't have, this has a dashed line through the center. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so here's our blog links. So we want to style the blog links differently for the half width class. So we'll go down here. There's our blog links. These are, well, we've got blog links, nav, social. No, we definitely want to do blog links and then nav social is the inner. Okay. So now we'll do half width, blog links, and we'll just say border, border 0 or border none. I think it's border none. Oh, you're gonna make me get that specific. Aren't we inside that already? Blog item, yeah. Oh, hang on, we have to do this. There we go. And then we want this to be centered. So we'll do justify content center. That not center it? Oh, no, align items shouldn't matter. Why aren't you centering? Here. There we go. Okay, so on the blog links, content center. And then on blog links, I'm going to do a pseudo class after. And we'll say content. I'm going to say width 100, display block. Width 100%. height 0, border, bottom, 1 pixel dashed, and gray. And then I'm going to make this, I guess just position relative. We'll do inset, nope. Inset 0. And I think we just need to give it probably a z-index of like -1. And it should just put it right behind it. Oh, we need to move it up a little bit. And it's not very noticeable. So it actually would not be inset 1. It would be, so I'm assuming this is top, right, bottom, left. So if the inset is shorthand, top, bottom, yep. So this is top, left, right, top, hang on here. So top, right, bottom, left. So I would do -50%. You're not moving at all. What's the value for all 4? Don't show me the top, bottom, left, right, top, left, right, bottom. Oh, here we go. Top, right, bottom, left. Why aren't you moving? Okay. There we go. No, why don't I? What am I not understanding here about inset? Yes, you take pixel values. Percentages of the width, left, right, or height of the containing block. Yes. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do, go back to relative. And let's do transform, translate. You are not moving at all. All right. And then I think we need to give this some padding and a background. Yeah. Or really just a background color. So blog links background color. Hang on. It needs to probably just be that. There we go. Now that looks like this. I'll zoom in a little here. There we go. So let's make sure we didn't screw this up. Nope, we didn't. Good. Where are we? There's 100%. Close this. All right, we're getting there. This feels really narrow, this container, doesn't it? The main wrap. Yeah, max width 75 rems. Does it say how big it is? 1200. Feels really narrow to me. Maybe it's just because this is so big. Let's change the aspect ratio of these images. I think right now I have them as 1:1, which is basically a square. If we can make these just a little shorter, I think that's going to help and just pull everything up a little bit. So 1:1, so 1:1, so maybe maybe 4:3. That helps. That helps a lot. I like that better. I think this aligns better with this too. Because they're not quite squares. Yeah, I like that. I like it. I mean, this took me longer than I thought it was going to today. I thought I was going to fly through this. So this ended up being I don't know, like the parts that were hard surprised me and the parts that were easy were surprised me, I guess. So, but that's why we need to practice. That's why you have to practice, because I just don't know how you get good at this if you're not always practicing. That's why I'm here. So I hope you guys are practicing too. I hope this was helpful. I love it when you ask me questions. I do my best to answer questions, or sometimes it's funny because people ask me questions about why I do things, and I'm like, I don't know, it's just how I've always done it. So I love it. I love it when people ask me questions and try to get me to um, have a good reason for why I do things. So, but yeah, this is coming together. So we'll finish this main content layout tomorrow. Um, we'll get our pagination styled. We have to style this right here because that right there is this where we pull down the title over top. And then we need to start working on our sidebar. So let me go ahead and push this up to Git. I will also get this deployed on Heroku tomorrow. And yeah, I mean, considering how today went, I don't know if we're going to get the entire sidebar styled tomorrow. It would sure be nice though, wouldn't it? I really thought I was going to get this entire thing styled today and that we would be working on the navigation and the search bar tomorrow, but that's okay. You know, it takes as long as it takes. So, and I think for being, I guess technically we're about 6 hours into this project. If you think of 6 hours as being a work day, this isn't that bad. This isn't too shabby. So, all right. Well, I guess that's it for me today. Thank you to everybody who decided to tune in and hang out and ask questions. I appreciate you. I will be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we will continue building this blog website layout. Have a great day wherever you are. Bye.